I like to say I like to deal in matters of the heart.
By day, Dr. Charlene Abobi mends hearts in the most literal sense, working as a cardiologist at Brown University Health in Rhode Island. But by night, or whenever she finds a spare moment, she crafts heart-pounding romance novels that leave readers breathless.
I knew at a pretty young age what I wanted to be when I grew up. You know, when you ask kids, what do you want to be? And they say, oh, I'm going to be a firefighter, this. I was like, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a writer, I'm going to be an artist. I kind of went ahead and did all of it.
That she did. Born in Ghana, Abobi moved to the United States at the age of 6, where her mother, a small-town physician in Arkansas, planted the seed of her passion for healthcare.
My mother is a physician. She takes care of premature babies. When we were in Arkansas, seeing my mom as a small-town doctor. She was the only pediatrician for 50,000 people. And that meant that her patients were not just her patients, they were often a part of our family and part of the community.
She spent time working at the doctor's office alongside her mom while simultaneously nurturing her creative roots.
I have been writing since I was a child. When I was 6 years old, I drew a picture book called Lucky the Dog, and my 10th birthday party was actually a book signing. My parents bound a book that I wrote at Kinko's, and I signed books.
Wow. She put those puppy love dreams on hold professionally to pursue her career as a cardiologist.
Cardiovascular disease remains the #1 killer of people in general, both men and women, regardless of background. But also, there are certain groups of people who have not really received as much attention, or for whom there isn't as much research into their conditions. And that is women, and that is also people of color, Black people. And while I was training, I found out that only 13% of cardiologists are women. And so that activated a little bit of the savior complex. I said, hey, I could probably do that.
But it would be the medical path that actually led her straight back to the artistic one.
I was an internal medicine resident during COVID, so I was very much in the trenches, in the COVID ICUs, and it was, overwhelming, really know what was going on. We were scared, and in many ways, writing my first novel on rotation felt like therapy. It was a bit of an escape from this very confusing and sometimes extremely dark reality. That was really how my professional writing career was born. I finished the book and I said, okay, I might as well do something with it. It would be cool if other people could read it.
On Rotation, a coming-of-age novel debuted in 2022, and in early 2025, Abobi's second novel hit the bookshelves.
My second book is called Between Friends and Lovers. It is about my main character, Josephine Boateng, who has finished her medical residency but has been unable to go on to her fellowship or to pursue a career because she struggles with major depression. She has to learn how to accept love for herself. A lot of people pitch it as a love triangle. She was unaffiliated. Her agency's single-member LLC only recently incorporated.
It's a plotline that might make you clutch your chest. But don't worry, Dr. Abobi is well equipped to handle heart trouble, both real and fictional. Oh, and in her spare time, she's also an illustrator and cartoonist. She believes that practicing medicine and crafting heartfelt stories share more in common than one might think.
I think that the heart is an incredibly elegant organ. It's incredibly important. You need the heart to work for anything else to work.
Dr. Abobi is proving that the heart is more than just an organ. It's the center of great stories.
Wow, and as you heard, nationwide, only 13% of cardiologists are women, but at Brown University Health, that number is closer to 30%.
Closer to 30. One of the reasons that Charlene was actually drawn to this area because of those numbers. By the way, she is now wrapping up book number 3, set to be released soon. I suddenly feel like an underachiever.
I was going to say that. Jeez, all right.